Hello, everyone, and welcome to the OB Talkwire podcast. Once again, episode number 10. Let me just say once again, want to give a shout out to the last episode with Luke Papala coming on. I hope you guys enjoy his podcast and enjoy the podcast with him on that episode 9 that was. If you haven't watched it yet, go back and watch the episode. But here on episode 10, we definitely have another great one located in the facility of Stambaugh Stadium, home of your Youngstown State University Penguins, the Grit City Penguins, mind you. Youngstown, the home of Grit, of course, and I'm going to be sitting down in an hour-long podcast here today with Daniel Minenok, brother of former YSU safety linebacker Pat Minenok. Daniel Minenok has a big-time story where he played quarterback. He had a bunch of injuries that he had to overcame them. Tried to walk on the YSU, instead became a student coach, which is really cool and definitely a big-time success story for him, trying to coach a team that he loves, trying to be a coach, something that he always wanted to be. He talks about on the podcast. Really great interview with that. And he also talks about a little bit of PA football, the difference between that and Ohio. Talks a little bit about, in the end of the video, NCAA 14. But one of his biggest keys in the story that he's going to be talking about is his comeback from the injuries and from the horrible, horrible car crash that he had with a garbage truck way back in around January or February of 2021, in the wintertime of 2021, during everything that was going on, and just how he was able to recover, had a bunch of surgeries, and how he's back to box squad and 455, as he says before. But I want to thank Daniel Minenok for coming on. Really great guy, really great friend. And let's get on with the podcast. Welcome, everyone. Episode number 10, OB Talkwire. Here we are, beautiful facility of the Youngstown State University, home of your Grit City Penguins. And here today I am with a student coach and one of my good friends, actually, since I've been here. That would be Daniel Minenok, former Newcastle quarterback, I think, as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, former Newcastle quarterback, now a student coach over at Youngstown State. Thank you, first of all, for coming on.
Appreciate
I
you.
always give everyone the proper handshake. You know what I mean? You always got to. Always at the beginning, always at the end is how it goes.
You got to do it the right way.
Got to do it the right way, dude. I've struggled so many times of, not actually giving, a handshake afterwards. So, by, episode 6, I, had to.
Yeah, I'll remind you, too, if we...
Yeah, you got to definitely remind me if I forget. I mean, because... Also, you should see in the last episode, there was a few technical difficulties with the camera that we had. Not so much the camera, it was so much the recording, really. So I didn't know if it was because I have a hard drive as well, a big terabyte hard drive I bought. I brought that I basically brought it all over to that hard drive, just to make sure it was all okay. You know what I mean? But I'm hoping that it doesn't do that same problem that it had once before. But first of all, thank you for coming on.
I appreciate you having me. I'm excited.
So what's been going on real quick? Youngstown State football starting up here shortly. I know you got done with OTAs. How did that all go?
It seems like the guys had a really productive and they took a really big leap this offseason in the weight room and conditioning on the field. Everyone looks bigger, thicker, stronger, faster. And we brought a handful of new faces in. This was, this past offseason we signed the largest recruiting class in the history of Youngstown State football. And, there's a lot of new faces around, but everyone seems to be getting along really well. The chemistry's there, and I'm excited to get started as we go into camp. You probably already know a couple names. I know a couple names. What names ring a bell to you that are on this new team? Definitely there's a couple who are close to home. Mike Wells, I played high school basketball and football with him. I was pretty cool because I got to coach him last year in high school basketball over at Newcastle, and now he's here at Youngstown State, so I get to
coach him up again.
Yep, spend some more time with him. And then Marcus Hooker, I played football and basketball with him in high school,
and also former Ohio State cornerback, is it, or safety?
He played safety.
Safety, that's it. Yeah, former Ohio State safety. That's pretty cool, though. I mean, that's gonna be the first Ohio State Buckeye that ever transferred to YSU in a while, probably a decade. I think so, right? I don't know if there was any other ones that are that I'm not thinking of, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the first one a while, right?
Yeah, I'm not too familiar, but landing him was definitely a big time addition.
Well, because he also played so many downs in 2020. That 2020 season, I think he started most of the games. I know they only had 9 plus a national championship, but he started how many? I think he started all those games almost, right? So that was definitely a big addition.
Almost, yeah. I think maybe around 5 games he started. I remember watching the Penn State game, and he had a pick in that game. It's
Really?
pretty cool.
Yeah, and I remember that he had a pick in that game, and he almost took it to the house. I remember I think they blew out Penn State that game or something like that.
Yeah. That game it got ugly pretty
It
quick.
did get ugly pretty quick. Now he played a big impact right there. What other players do you think we should also have? I know someone from Western Illinois. I think came in as well.
Yep. Greg Benton.
Greg Benton.
He was actually the leading tackler in the Missouri Valley Conference last year.
Really? That's
Yeah,
pretty sweet.
and he's a rough dude, man. He knows his stuff. So I'm definitely excited to get to work with him since he'll be in our room. So
Yeah, he played against YSU last year, right? Did he start that game? I don't know if he started or played that game, but he did start that game. Okay. So I didn't know if he was out with an injury that game, but I just remember if someone like that you have on your team from someone who was once a star at the Missouri, well, last year's star at Western Illinois, you got to definitely think, some people are in trouble now.
Oh yeah, especially in addition to the guys who we've already had in the room who can play some ball. So I think he's going to help us out this year.
So OTA's done. What can we expect for camp coming up?
Man, and just
I know Coach Doug's getting the team ready over here. I know Coach Doug's a fiery guy sometimes, I know. So I know he's firing some of them up already for camp.
Yeah, I mean, wherever you go, I think, camp is camp. There's definitely some parts of it that can be a bit grueling, but it seems like the guys are excited to get in and, get to work.
I'd imagine so. Last year they were excited to get to work too, but it seems like, again, 2 years, and people are saying, what's going on with this program? Because you've had, the spring season, which I know a lot of people don't really count much, you know what I mean? But 1 win in the spring season, only 3 wins from last season. What do you think has been the problem the last 2 seasons that's going to be different now? Because we've seen a lot where it's been, okay, they've been in this game over here, then all of a sudden it just collapsed, and all of a sudden the next team just wins, whoever, maybe like the Western Illinois last year, North Dakota State. What do you think's been the biggest turnaround that you've seen?
One thing for sure is I think the past couple seasons, including that spring season and definitely this fall, I think we saw firsthand we were a bit undersized and just physically outmatched. So I think definitely the addition of Coach Rodenberg, our new strength coach, I think now our guys are ready to roll and now not only put up a fight and compete, but I think come out with, tally in the win column in a couple of those games that we should have pulled out last year. So I think definitely the time we spent in the weight room this off season will be the difference this year.
Has Dan Minenok been getting into the weight room with the players a little bit, or at least at Newcastle weight room?
Man, I wish, but yeah, on my own, definitely. Yeah,
definitely.
I try to keep up with it. Yeah.
What kind of work do you do? The same workouts as they do, or does Rodenberg give you a little thing like, hey, how about you do some of this workout? Or
I like to touch base with the players every once in a while and see hey, what lift did you guys do today, or what exercises did you guys do, and try to incorporate them into my own kind of regimen, so that way, I can get a little taste of what they're going through each day.
Are you more of an upper body or lower body type of guy when lifting?
Honestly, I'm not too biased, but lower body days aren't. They're not too fun now that I'm still rehabbing from a couple injuries, but starting to get back to normal.
So more of an upper body type of guy right now.
Yeah, I see.
Big arms? Are you big more chest, arms? What are you more mostly?
Arms. Got to get the guns going.
Get the guns going.
Oh yeah.
Got to get the small T-shirt going. This is actually a medium, but got to get the small T-shirt going just to show the guns going, right? Because you get the large T-shirt, they're thinking to yourself, oh, this guy's small over here. You know what I mean? You wear the extra large. Then when you just take it off, change, you're like, oh, I don't want to mess with this cat over here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But you touched bases real quick. I guess we could go to that because you played at Newcastle. Mm-hmm. What year was it? 17 to 20, right? Am I correct on that? Or 16 to 20? 17 to 20, right?
Yep, it was. Yeah. So 2016 to 2020.
And I saw some of your film actually this morning, so I wanted to see. All right, so it looked like you was quarterback. Because I read a lot of stuff last night. You were quarterback. Mm-hmm. You had a couple of films where you made some pretty good plays. I saw one where it's I think you turned around. Well, you were going this way, then you turned your whole body around, just threw to the left side.
Yep.
I think you know what I'm talking about.
That play was actually it was a designed a throwback like that. Roll out to the right, throwback to the left corner. We called it Penguin. How about that?
Penguin.
Coincidence. So yeah, that play
for a team that was the Hurricanes, you called it a Penguin.
Yep. And now I'm a Penguin. So, but yeah, it was in double overtime, and
Who did you guys play that game?
Highlands.
Highlands.
Yes, and that play actually won us the game.
Really?
Yep.
Was it like so? It was a game-winning touchdown. Was it or was it like a 2-point conversion?
It was touchdown.
Touchdown.
Yep.
Okay, I wasn't sure about that because I only you see the films. You don't see any of the down or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just little films on Huddle. You don't actually get to see like the full game. You know what I mean?
You see the clip
Yeah,
of the play.
just the clip. But did you? I don't know if you had like any other clips from during your time there when you played for the Hurricanes for Newcastle right there.
Honestly, that one little highlight tape is all I have.
Right.
My high school career was a little. It was kind of unfortunate. So my freshman year, I actually fractured my femur. So it was a funky injury. It wasn't like really instantaneous. It happened like gradually over time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was playing summer league basketball. I remember we had 3 back-to-back games one night, and we only had 6 guys, so I didn't come out. And I went home that night and noticed like my hamstring was a little sore. It was bothering me for about a month, even like going through fall camp. So finally, treatment at physical therapy wasn't really helping it. So I went and got an MRI and saw an orthopedic. It turns out my hamstring had ripped off of my femur, and it pulled apart a growth plate in my glute. So then it was, they treated it like a bone fracture, and missed my whole freshman season. Then my sophomore year was the only year I was actually healthy enough to play. Then that basketball season in the state quarterfinals, 2 days before actually during practice, I jumped up to block a shot, landed on my teammate's foot, and I dislocated my ankle and broke my foot. And then I missed my junior and senior season, so I just couldn't really heal up. But
you just couldn't really play high school ball because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So and there was just not a lot of time anymore to try and get your rehab going before the season starts in early August now, because that seems like when all these things are starting, like high school football starting.
Yeah, yep. So I was in actually after I dislocated my ankle, I had 2 surgeries to repair that. Then I had went through about 6 months worth of physical therapy, and it was rough. And finally, football season came around. I still really couldn't run, couldn't jump. I was in a lot of pain. Basketball season came around, still in the same boat. So I was like, you know what, something's up. I know my body. I know how it's supposed to feel, and something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me a handful of doctor's visits. Went to 2 or 3 different orthopedic surgeons. Finally, they found a fracture in my foot, and by that time, it was a complete fracture.
Where was it in your foot? Was it in the middle part, the side part of your foot?
Right in the middle, my navicular bone.
So
yeah.
right over here is where it was.
Yep.
Wow. And how many surgeries did you have to get on it?
So it was 2 to repair my ankle, and then when they found out my foot was broken, they put a plate and a couple screws in, and then the pain really didn't go away. I was still having issues, so it wasn't until my first semester here that I had that hardware removed. So it would have been 4 total just to get my foot back to where it needs to be.
So you don't play a lot of football in high school. You still have some pretty good moments, though, against some good teams, as you said right there. Who's the team that you played against?
We played Highlands.
Highlands.
My first ever start was at Aliquippa.
Aliquippa.
Yeah, they were the reigning.
PA.
Yep, they were the reigning state champions, home of Darrell Rivas, Ty Law.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a cool experience.
Yeah, Ty Law. You know what? Speaking of which, I saw when they had those Big 33 things. That's a big thing in Pennsylvania. I don't know if you know about that. I imagine you do, but they had one. I know when they played against Ohio, a bunch of athletes played in it too. Like a bunch of NFL stars played in it. Like Ty Law was one of them. I mean, I don't know. I think Montana was in it actually.
Joe Montana?
Yeah, Montana played in it.
That was it was the Big 33 game.
Big 33.
Yeah, so it was I think Pennsylvania versus Maryland.
Maryland. Yeah.
Yep. Actually, in that game, so I think Joe Montana. I think that was. I'm trying to think.
Would have to be 70s, right?
Yeah, it was 70s. I think. Was it Joe Montana? I'm trying to think.
Montana, I think, was 73. I know Marino was in the game too. Marino came, a little bit later in the game.
That's it. So that year in Newcastle, we won the district championship, the Whitfield championship, and our starting quarterback, his name was Rick Sumner. He started over Joe
He
Montana
did,
in the
really.
Big 33 game. Yeah,
So, and where's Rick Sumner now, though? Because no one, I don't think anyone does. Is he heard from a lot, or not really? Or
he is. I mean, he's well known in Newcastle. He pops in and out of the football program and talks to the kids. I'm not sure where he played at in college, but he's still
I
he's
didn't
still
know
present.
because I never like heard of him from the NFL. Everyone knows Montana,
Hmm.
Namath, all those guys who played in those Big 33 games. Ted Ginn actually played in that game too. I don't know if you know about that because when they had PA versus Ohio,
Hmm.
but no one knows like again, nobody knows like someone like that who started over Montana or
Yeah,
I mean because you think of Joe Montana, he's just like an automatic starter because of what he had in the NFL, but no one knows just the struggles it takes from going from you're sent by someone at high school level and you just make it go
hmm
big like that.
yeah. It was he actually he told us about it, and he would always tell us stories about that high school team and that championship team that he played on and what kind of separated them. It was it was cool having guys who grew up in Newcastle constantly around the program and just giving feedback and giving us kids advice. That was pretty cool.
Who else has come like in Newcastle? That I know there's probably a few other PA stars. I know that we're probably big in Western PA football.
Hmm.
Who else came in? Like to just give a shout to like the teams or whatever when you were there. Anyone else?
Uh, Geno Stone comes back. He comes back and sees the kids from every once in a while. But um, another big one who's from Newcastle. He also played on that '72 team that won the Whippeal Championship. His name is Nick Rapone. So he went and he played at Virginia Tech. Then he began his college coaching career at Pitt, I believe, and then he coached for the Arizona Cardinals for a handful of years. He was telling us a story about how he held his pre-draft interview with Tyrann Mathieu. That was
The Honey Badger.
Yep, that was pretty cool.
Really?
And yeah, and he just won a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a coaching staff. He's on the coaching staff,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep, he's DB's coach.
DB's coach for the
Mm-hmm.
Buccaneers. Okay. That's pretty sweet. I mean, you grow up in Newcastle, and next thing you know, you're a DB coach. Gonna happen to you, I think, pretty soon when YSU wins the championship.
I hope so.
Newcastle man from over here comes in Youngstown, wins the championship coming up. I mean, that's just an amazing story. And I don't know if did you ever play in like the Ohio versus Pitt All Star Classic? I don't know if you were ever part of that.
Yeah.
You were never part of that. I don't know if you know that it happened. Did you watch it this past season though?
I didn't.
You didn't? Oh, okay. I feel like
Missed it.
there's a lot of difference in like. Do you think there's a big difference in Ohio and PA football in a way? Like Western PA to like the local area type of football that you see here?
You know what? Honestly, I don't think I've seen enough Ohio high school football to really have formed an opinion on it. But I think it's really cool that you know we're so close to that state line that in the summer teams are able to have lifting competitions with each other.
Yeah.
In Ohio and in Pennsylvania. And
I didn't know they had lifting
have
competitions.
have 7-on-7s.
Yeah, 7-on-7s.
Yeah. So and then even though we're so close, whenever you cross that border, there is kind of a different feel to the game and to the schools, which I think is pretty neat.
The biggest part about it, though, I don't know if you. So the game this year, apparently a lot of people were complaining that like PA was being too rough on Bo Brungard. I don't know if you know who that is. That's he's
Mhm.
coming here actually from YSU.
Yep.
The father of Mark Brungard, legendary quarterback, his son. People were saying a little too rough, but I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if they were gonna. I don't think they were like that way in 2011 when Keys Teague was playing against some of these Pitt guys. I don't know if you know about Keys Teague, former Ursuline running back at all. I know. So you don't know about Keys Teague? Ursuline running back, he went to Cincinnati. And I mean, this guy over here was just like a monster in the backfield. I mean, you already had Alan Jones beforehand. And Keys Teague comes in. Man, he nearly breaks all records. And he's in the Big 22, which is our local thing that we have.
Mhm.
And there's a game against Mooney where, I don't know what he did against the Ohio Pitt game, but I know against Mooney, he sent 2 kids to the hospital just because he trucked them. I remember that game too. So what had happened is that he trucked 2 Mooney kids, and they went to the hospital, and the game was delayed 30 minutes to an hour. And this was like 2011 or something. So I was in 7th grade watching all this from the high bleachers of Stambaugh Stadium.
Man, talk about a load running the ball.
Oh, he was definitely a loader on the ball. I'd love to have him on the show, but I know his days in Cincinnati were cut short due to some instances. But you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got you.
That's unfortunate. But I didn't know if you knew like a big things with like between PA football, because I don't know PA football. I don't know what it's if it's like the same as you would see it here in Ohio high school football. Because I know there's like a lot of different league. There's like different leagues, different conferences, different championships. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I know in Ohio is there still like the city league here in Youngstown?
Steel Valley Conference. So it's only with 4 teams. So you have Ursuline, Mooney, East, and Cheney. It's not like what it used to be. But
I got you. Yeah. My dad is from Youngstown. He played for Wilson High School, and he was telling me about the olden days. Wilson, Cheney. Who else was there in the big city
East
league?
was there, and then they shut doors. I think in 07 until they came back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in Pennsylvania, the WPIAL, which is District 7, so they split up the state into different districts, and then like the classifications are different too. We go by single A, double A, 3A, 4A, and then Ohio it's divisions.
Yeah.
So it's like it's flip flopped.
They used to back in the day or something before divisions. I think they went single A and double A if I remember clearly. Here in Ohio, I don't know why they discontinued it, but so single A, double A is pretty much like the same as a 2 to 3, right? In a way, like division wise, or is there like any other difference really?
Yep. So your guys' Division 1 would be like our 6A.
Really?
Yeah.
So that means a 6A is like a Division 1 in a way, or?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what would be a single A then be?
A single A would be what's your guys' smallest division?
Probably division. Oh, so it's like reverse. It goes.
Yeah.
So pretty much anything that's like a 6A is pretty much a Division 1. Well, everything's like a 1A is considered like a D7 here.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep.
That's I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to compromise that because you think of single A, you think it's just immediately you're the top dog. Like what I mean, it's definitely
you would think single A is like Division 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's flip flop. It's like reversed.
Yeah, that's so weird. I didn't even know about that. That's gonna confuse me because that's good because I remember Ursula played Hickory, and I think what division is Hickory? They're what like
Hickory is
are they what 4A?
I think 3A or 4A.
4A.
I know in basketball they have a really good basketball program. They're
all right. So that'd be
5A.
Will that be like Division 4 then? Division 5?
5A.
Yeah. Well, so that'd be like Division
5A would be like Division 2,
3. Okay.
Borderline Division 1.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What I think about though, like with PA football, is that I always see schools that are like broadcasting on like you see on local networks over here. They'll have like a Hickory, Sharon, they'll have Farrell. Those are like the only 3 though that like you'll maybe see. I never see like usually a like you guys Newcastle. I don't see the Shanhawk. Wasn't Laurel the other Laurel the
Mm-hmm.
other one, right? I don't see like West Middlesex at all or Grand Valley or any of those other like schools that are like from the Western PA area. They get a lot of credit besides those 3. I don't know. Why do you think that is in a way?
I'm surprised you guys don't see West Middlesex more than you do. But Hickory, Sharon, Farrell, those 3 I think are even closer to the Ohio border than Newcastle is. They're right around Hermitage. So like they're like a little northwest of Newcastle. But yeah, I'm surprised like news outlets don't cover games that are like
West Middlesex or
excuse me.
you're fine.
Yeah, right over the border like that. Because I know in Pennsylvania they don't do that either.
Really?
But
like Ohio schools, right, or anything like that.
Yeah.
Unless a Western PA team probably covers like beats an Ohio school or something like that, right?
I'm sure if there was like a crossover game like that, they would cover it, but
because I don't know if you guys have like in Western PA. I don't know if that's still like FMJ or is it local networks that you would get here in Ohio, or if that's like
ours is
okay, so it's the same thing.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
I'd imagine because it's just like right off the border, so like they kind of count you all like anywhere from Bessemer, Mohawk, Mars, or anything like that. They probably just count that kind of like another piece of Ohio, even though it's like over the border.
Yeah. They really the whole Pittsburgh area from Pittsburgh, a little south of Pittsburgh, all the way up to about Newcastle. I want to say we're probably one of the northernmost schools in the WPIAL or in our district. that's really the area they cover, like in our local news station.
Hey, I could tell already when I'm at the border, past the border, because I could go gamble on my DraftKings sportsbook and all that stuff if I wanted to.
And you see the gas prices skyrocket a little bit once you cross over that PA border.
It's even. I mean, because they went down. Gas prices went down a little bit here in Ohio. To like cheapest one I think I saw was like $3.86 by my place. I don't know. It's like $5 over there in Newcastle or whatever. But
yeah, it's a little over four right now.
It's
lower than it has been.
I imagine you come get that gas over here once, just under $4 here. Then right?
Oh yeah. I try to hold off until I have to make a trip over here to Youngstown so I can get it right on the border.
No, see, I've been in Newcastle before, and like I remember, I don't know what we were doing, but it was like late at night. It was like at night or something like that. And like all the gas stations closed, and I was like, "Oh my god, I gotta find a gas station here fast." Luckily, I found a Sheets, but like I was freaking out that I was gonna be stranded in Newcastle a little bit because I mean it's like it feels like when I'm there, it's like a ghost town almost in a way. Like
yeah, if you're there late enough, yeah,
it feels like ghost town over here that you're gonna get like I don't know, like a Jason Voorhees coming after you or something in the middle of the night or something.
Yeah, it's funny though because Newcastle is, diversity wise, when you look at the people, it's really like a smaller version of Youngstown, minus kind of like the downtown life. We really don't have much of that, but from a diversity standpoint and the people and the small businesses, it's really similar to Youngstown.
What's Newcastle pizza like though? Does it beat out Youngstown pizza at all? Because look, we got Wedgwood, Uptown. I don't know what Newcastle pizza has.
I gotta tell you, I am all for Ohio pizza. Whenever we have pizza,
Ohio pizza.
Wedgwood.
That's your favorite right there.
Yeah, hands down.
So I know business is going to be picked back up with them because I don't know if you know the owner sadly passed away right there.
He did.
Yeah, he was 91. Actually,
wow.
So
man, I didn't know that. So my dad's actually picking up Wedgwood right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he bringing it here for us?
Man,
on the podcast. One bite, everyone knows the rules for the Wedgwood edition. I mean, speaking of one bites, I've been doing videos of it for the podcast a little bit. I just said it to a lot of friends. I've been trying to somehow get the Stoolie on, if you know who I'm talking about, the Portnoy.
Oh.
I mean, that's the goal over here. Try and get him on for an episode or something like that. It would have to be remote unless he wants to take the trip down to Youngstown. I mean, he has money. He has more money than all of us combined. He would be able to do that. Like,
yeah.
But so your career then after football, you come here to YSU, and did you decide to try and come out and play football at all for the Penguins, or did you try and be a coach for most of the part?
So at the time, right around the time when I was graduated from high school, so right when COVID hit, like March, April of 2020. Prior to that, I'd always known that I wanted to get right into coaching once I was done playing.
Yeah.
But knowing how things were looking, unfortunately, my playing career seemed to have come to an end sooner than I had hoped. So I got right into coaching. Luckily, my brother was on the team, and he introduced me to the staff, and they were all for letting me climb aboard and helping out and learn football.
And it was a whole new staff too compared to what they had the last season with Bo. So
a whole new staff. So I came in, and then my plan was to get my foot in the door into the program as an intern, and then hopefully once my foot was healed and I had my last surgery, that if I was healthy enough, I'd be able to play again. But then right around the time when I was starting to turn the corner, that's when things took a turn for the worse.
And I texted you about beforehand, and this is kind of like more. I want to say I don't know if it's a private matter to you. I imagine because it's kind of like a lot of public now. It's one of the ones where I said, should I talk about it with him? I don't know because with the Kemp one, it was different because he got fired from his job, so I didn't know if I should talk about it with him, but he allowed it. But in your case, it was a much more issue where it could have been taking a life in a way, your life or someone else's life in a way. So what happened? So it's January, right?
Yep, late January.
So late January, and we're still in the winter time. Obviously, spring season starts in 2 months, I think. Weather's still a little bad, right?
We were, I think, 3 weeks away from our first game.
Yeah, 3 weeks away. We're still in pandemic times, and we have bad weather. And what happens? Or you're driving home, right?
Yep. So we had football practice in the morning, and then a few of my classes were online classes. So I figured, you know what? I think I have enough time to to make it home and take a nap. At the time, might have been running on, I don't know, 3 hours of sleep a night for about a month and a half, trying to keep up on my schoolwork, get ahead, and then study football to make sure I not only knew it but knew it well enough to teach it and be an asset to the coaching staff. So I was, my battery was running low, and uh, I just, I crashed at the wrong time, and I collided with a garbage truck right on the center line, about 90 seconds away from my house.
Center line. So it wasn't like different. So I know sometimes you have like the barriers right there. So this was only the barrier. It was literally like center line.
Yep, it's 2-lane road.
Now what happened? Did like he swerve or something? Did you swerve in the bad weather, or what was it?
The conditions weren't too bad, but I think I started to doze off a bit, and when they asked the truck driver what happened, he said that I don't know. I looked up, he was right there, so I think that shows you he wasn't he didn't have his eyes on the road either. But not to say he was at fault or I was, but it was just a freak thing, and
Do you remember any like instant when you were in the crash at all? Do you remember anything that had like happened or?
I don't remember the accident itself, but I remember waking up in the car afterwards, and kind of like coming to, and just it was kind of like a wave all at once, feeling the pain in my leg. I remember I could only see out of one eye. I remember I couldn't see over the hood of the car because the front of the car was smashed in, and I was trapped under the dashboard, but I could see out of both windows. I remember I think I heard my dad's voice, I heard my older brother's voice, and then before that there was a woman who was driving behind me when the accident happened, and she actually happened to be a nurse. So she was maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds behind the accident, and when it happened, she was right outside my window. She asked me what my name was, asked me if I remember what happened, just trying to keep me awake. And yeah, that's about all I remember about the accident itself.
So do you remember like anything after we had to go like, to the hospital with the surgeries or anything? Did they put you like under some stuff to like having?
Oh yeah. So I mean, I think I had 5 or 6 emergency surgeries that day, and then so I was out for a while, and then I was constantly in and out, going to sleep, just trying to rest, and then I think it was maybe 2 days after the accident when I was finally starting to regain some consciousness and be up for some decent periods of time. I realized I couldn't move my fingers at all. I couldn't open my hand. So I told my mom about it.
It was all clenched together like in a fist.
Yeah, my hand it was stuck. So what had happened was uh, I didn't realize at the time of the accident, but a chunk of glass got stuck in my arm,
Oh,
and it shredded the radial nerve in my arm, which is responsible for the motor skills in your hand, which allow you to open up your fingers. And so they went in and repaired that. Then it wasn't for about 5 or 6 months later when I finally started to regain some movement in my fingers, and now I almost have full range of motion.
full range. Which ones are still like getting better if you don't mind me asking?
Definitely the pointer.
The pointer.
Yeah. So these ones, my pinky, ring, middle, I can get them straight, but this pointer finger still kind of lingers a little bit.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, hey, I'm just glad you survived. I know everyone's just happy you survived because I remember that, and it was just like a weird deal because I mean, you had to go through the walker. I remember you had to be in the boot and everything. I don't know what else you had to use.
Yeah. So it was so I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. They originally planned on having me in there for 4 weeks, but fortunately, I pushed myself through the rehab for that first week, and I made enough progress that they let me go a week early. But when I was in there, and then when I got home, I had to use a special walker for that was designed for stroke victims. So your normal walker, you step inside it, and there's two handlebars on the side.
Yeah.
Well, this one, it had those handlebars on the side, but then there was another one that that was in the middle. So I would have to hop on my right leg because my left leg was the one that was injured, and my left arm was injured. So I would have to hold the walker with one hand, put it out, and then hop into it.
So kind of like a steering wheel, kind of like you're in like some sort of car, or
almost. Yeah, but it was rough. It was definitely it was pretty fatiguing.
I imagine you were just at that point like, am I ever gonna regain this confidence, this composure back, my body back? But it's been, I mean, then I think was it a couple like months ago you started like lifting again. I remember and all that. I saw on your Instagram story. When did you know? Like, when were you able to find out? Hey, I could do this again. Like, what was it? It just coming like, was it the confidence? Was it just the whole battle that came like through your mindset, or was it just like you woke up one day and you just saw most things were like moving again? Because you were doing what, box squats? I remember I saw on your thing like. How much were you doing with box squats? Was it?
I think the most I used was like 455.
455.
Yeah.
And that's coming after like months of surgery, injury, just everything like that. And you were throwing them up too. It's not like you were struggling with them. You were throwing the weights up over here, like you were back in motion.
Yeah. I wasn't going too deep, but yeah, it felt good to move some weight around. But throughout the whole process, from accident to being in the hospital to being at home, if any, there were very few moments where I feel like I was down on myself. And I think part of that is just really how my parents, my mom especially, kind of instilled, our faith in me. I was raised a Catholic, but it was definitely throughout this whole process. I feel like my relationship with God definitely strengthened. And each morning in the hospital, I wake up, read my devotional and my daily devotional and pray. And I had so much time on my hands. There was really nothing much else to do except pray and just read and just try to keep my mind in a positive space. And I would say it definitely paid off.
I'd imagine. I'm pretty sure it definitely did. By the way you are now, I mean, once you get throwing weight up like it's no tomorrow here at 455, gonna be going to 600 soon. I know.
Oh man!
And I imagine you said, of course, big time prayer, big time. You said God was on your side. When did you know like God? I want to say like was able to like protect you during all this? Do you think? Was it like during the crash, after, or?
I think through it all.
Really?
Just first off, him, sparing me and me still being here today is a blessing. And every step along the way, it was I really kind of felt his presence along with me, like everything was going to be okay. And at the time when I was finally, discharged from the hospital and going back to visit doctors, and my hand wasn't getting much better, and my mom was asking me like, "Hey, do you think we need to have this procedure done, or like what do you think?" I was always just kind of at peace, and I was always sure that that feeling of peace and that everything was going to be all right and everything was going to turn out for the better. I know that came from God, and that was Him, watching over me.
Because and that's really good too. That you believe. I know everyone has their own beliefs, but it's been a big thing, controversy now. I don't know if you've seen where like one of the public school coaches like apparently was fired because of doing prayer or something like that. I don't know if you saw that in the news. Really, but there was one that actually I think he got fired for doing it or something like that. And they tried to like take it to court or something. I don't know how you think of it. If only it should be like a Catholic school thing or whatever it should be. The colleges can't do it. I don't know what your opinion is on that.
On every team that I've played on, Newcastle is not a Christian or
Mhm.
or Catholic school, but I've played for coaches who are religious, God fearing men, and I respected them for that. We prayed before each game, and even this past season, uh, during warm ups, our linebacker group, they would choose someone to say a prayer right before we went into the locker room, before we came out to start the game, and in the 1 week, no one stepped up, so I was like, you know what, I got it. So and I don't even remember what I said that first week, but they said I did a really good job saying the pregame prayer, and I said it every week from that point on. So I think whatever program I'm a part of in the future, I definitely want to try to influence those the athletes I coach to pursue a relationship with God, just because that's what I believe in.
And I imagine most of them are doing a probably good job at them. I know some, any of them probably, big time like guys when they follow you around, right? Then you talk about them with that. Are they like big on it or?
Uh, Not so much yet. I mean, a couple of my buddies, a couple of guys in the linebacker room, they told me that like I would do a really good job with the pregame prayer. Like, man, that got me ready to go. So even just a little nod of validation or verification like that, I think if I could if I could affect any one person, and even in the smallest way possible, then uh, in God's eyes, I think I'm doing a good job of using using my platform or wherever I am to uh, direct others in his path.
I feel like that's the same way too because again, my family's Catholic. I was raised a Catholic. You pray before dinner time. You pray a little bit before bed. Sometimes I'll just pray in my head because I'm a snoozer. I'll fall asleep. I go on chair or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and immediately just
Yeah.
forget about the prayer. And so I'll just say it in my head because at that point I don't know if I have enough strength to do so at night. More because I'm just snoring and stuff like that, sleeping. But no, that's really good. I feel like it's definitely good. But I know everyone has their own beliefs, their own opinion on it. And,
Mm-hmm.
I respect anyone's belief and opinion that they have. I just think my opinion over here is just like you think there's a God there, and there is a God. You know what I mean? No matter, I know if you're a Muslim, you definitely are, believe in Muhammad. That's fine too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to select who's like your like guy who just believes in you and takes you to a different place when time's up in the world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And no one knows really what the future is going to hold throughout all that because again that's been like a really controversial thing in the news lately. I don't know if you've seen a bunch of like controversial like Catholic, Christian, and like
Mm-hmm.
believing in God, all this stuff because of what's been going on around here.
Yep. Yep.
So it's really been like we just it's been hard to like discuss that, I mean, because just everything's been going on
Mm-hmm.
in certain ways. But so you played football and you also said you played basketball a little bit. I don't know. I didn't see really any basketball film. What was your biggest game in basketball? What do you say?
You know what? The the 1 year I was healthy enough to play in high school, because we had at the time we had a separate ninth grade team. So my first year in high school, I played on the ninth grade team, and then 10th grade we had 11 seniors that year.
Love it.
Yeah, so I played JV, and then uh, that year is when I got hurt at practice, so I didn't play 11th or 12th grade. But uh, basketball is definitely fun, and Newcastle right now, I'd say over the past decade, Newcastle has primarily been a basketball school.
What was your guys' record when you played?
I'm not sure what our exact record was, but I know.
Were you
And
like over 500? And I know
oh
everyone
yeah,
basically goes to the playoffs in basketball. I don't know if you guys made it like super far.
yeah. So in the 4 years I was in high school, we won 3 district championships.
Really?
Yeah, and then
What teams did you beat? Do you remember?
uh, two, was it three maybe?
Rival Next
Yeah,
Gen?
it was 3. It was 3 years back to back to back. We played Quaker Valley.
Quaker Valley.
Quaker Valley. They're somewhere near Pittsburgh. I know they're south of Newcastle for sure, but uh, yeah, they've over that 3 year span, they had a handful of guys go play Division One, Division Two basketball.
Really?
Yeah, so they have a legit program going over there, and they actually just sent a kid to Kentucky to go
Do
play
you remember
basketball.
his name at all?
I think his name is Adu Thera.
I That's just like this past season, right?
Yep. Yeah,
I think I didn't know if he played in 2021 for Kentucky at all, or if he's just like one of the new signees.
I think he's one of the new
One of the new
signees. Yep.
signees.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I mean, you have a guy go to Kentucky, you know your program's doing something right.
Oh yeah.
You know that coach is staying there for a little while longer. You know, what I mean, they're not going to give him the boot anytime soon, and the recruiting.
Hmm.
You know, you have good recruiters coming in too.
Yeah, but then I think it's cool to think about too. In the Pittsburgh area, District 7, the Whitfield where we play at, there's a lot of talent everywhere you look. But Newcastle, we still find a way to come out on top. And over the past handful of years, we haven't produced many, uh, you know, Division One basketball players, but we win games and we beat teams who have these high end players simply because we play harder and we got tough kids.
It's a nice little upset,
Yep.
pretty much, right? Because again, it's not like you guys are the biggest school around, but you guys once again have teamwork or strategy on your side, and that works into fruition better than just like you get ice the ball on one player every single time, right?
Yep. Our motto that we live by, that the whole program is based off of, is together. Everything we do on the court, off the court, have each other's backs. We ride together, and when we step out on that court,
ride and die.
The Red Hurricanes mean business.
I know that we talked a little bit before this. Red Hurricanes. What's going on with that? Hurricanes.
Yeah, so there's.
I mean, it's one plural. It's still one plural.
There's a big debate going on. So, for countless years, we have been referred to as the Red Hurricanes, plural, with the S at the end. And now we finally just got some new turf laid down on the football field, and a couple people of higher authority made the decision that all of a sudden we want to go by Hurricane, singular.
So once again, let's take a little intermission here real quick. Quick shout out once again to Daniel Minenok for coming on to the podcast. Student coach at the Youngstown State University, former Newcastle Hurricanes player, made a bunch of comebacks, had some really good highlights during his time there as a Newcastle player. First things first, want to definitely thank the sponsor for this video, Celsius, Fake It Till We Make It. Definitely trying to get them on board. And of course, Riverside.fm. Why Riverside? Well, because Riverside. Good recording, good audio synchronization, no technical issues this time. And also, you can send a link. Say if you're doing a podcast with someone from overseas, someone from a different state, and they can't make it to your state, send a link to them, and you can do a podcast just like Zoom, but this time you can show both faces, and also you can have a splendid old time talking overseas. Now, let's get back on to the second part of the episode.
Singular, because they claim that in a news article from the 1930s that a news writer referred to a single player as a Red Hurricane.
We're going back centuries over here.
They said he ran down the field like a Red Hurricane. But then again, I think them referring back to that article contradicts themselves, because if he was referring to a singular player, a team is made up of more than one player.
Yeah.
So then we'd be the Red Hurricanes.
Why are they so like? Why is it so controversial? Because it's something from the 30s. So I mean, we're in 2022. It's not like that. I can understand maybe this thing came out like in 2019 or 2020, 2021, but like we're in, or even 10 years ago, but like we're not in the 1930s. So I mean, we have new technology. I mean, look at these HD TVs up here that we have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look at this microphone. I know I'm low budget still, but I'm trying to get there. Look at that 1080 camera I bought from Ollie's Bargain Outlet. I don't think that you would see something like this in the 1930s.
Hey, good stuff cheap. Good stuff cheap.
So I don't know why they are bringing that up still from an article that. And again, it's not like newspapers are kind of downhill anyways now. It's like they're all this size. It's not like this back then. So
I think the reason why it holds so much weight is because that is really like the origin story of how we got the name Red Hurricane. So. Before that, I'm not sure if we were referred to as Newcastle High School, or I know at the time there were a couple different high schools right in the city.
Nicknames back then were not as common as you'd see now. Mm-hmm. I mean, YSU before they became the Penguins or Youngstown College. I mean, they didn't have Stanley Stadium. They played at ran and all those other stadiums. Like they
Mhm.
didn't, they didn't like care about nicknames at all. I don't know if you know how Wazoo actually became the Penguins.
Yep.
You know the story about it?
Yep. The
Where they were-
basketball game.
Yeah,
West Liberty.
and they were walking in suits, I think it was, like black
Mhm.
suits. Some say, oh, they look like a bunch of penguins waddling around. I don't know if you would take offense to that, or I mean, hey, they make cool shirts though with it. You ever see like the penguin that looks jacked?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. They the football team, they just got hoodies made with that they lift with
really.
and train.
The Wazoo Strength one, is it? Where it has like
Yeah.
where it's Pete and they have like the barbell on it, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. And Pete's like jacked.
He is.
Yeah, I think
Dude,
that.
where's
that's
my gear?
hilarious.
I want to come back for another year so I could just get that penguin lifting thing for now.
Yeah, me too. I didn't get that one either.
You didn't get that one?
I gotta get me one. Yeah.
You'll get. I mean, I'm pretty sure they have one for you. It's not like last year with the whole Nike gear where we were like short because there weren't like
Yeah,
much.
true.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like imagine you have like tons more coming in this year. But so what else is the whole thing with that Newcastle thing? Because as you said, like nicknames back then were not as common as they are now.
Yeah, I think the reason why it's such a big deal is because originally a handful of years ago they redesigned the basketball court and along the baseline they wrote Red Hurricane.
Yeah.
But it kind of went overlooked because basketball court, it's indoors.
Yeah.
Not everyone sees it, and then by the time it's basketball season, everyone's so amped up to come see
For the
Newcastle
game.
basketball.
And the student section of the whole parents and all the other fans are hyped up.
Yeah,
You're just
exactly.
not thinking about it.
Exactly. They're more concerned about the game and excited to see the game than they are like, why is the court say that?
Yeah, and you might also think that it might have been an error on someone's part because maybe they just weren't thinking that day, or maybe they were busy with other projects. That when they put Hurricane, they just forgot the S at the end. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But then this one, it's such a big deal because the football field is open to the public.
Yeah,
everyone sees it. Whether you go and walk around the track, whether you stop by and watch the football team practice during the afternoon, whether you're just driving past and you see, the field says Hurricane, but then everywhere else you look, it says, the big billboard on the home side says home of the Red Hurricanes. Then the scoreboard says guest. And then it says Canes. And then on the side of the weight training facility, they have big banners spelling out the word Hurricanes. So, I mean, everywhere you look, and then students and fans wear shirts that say Red Hurricanes, or another like big catchphrase in Newcastle is people will say Canes cuz.
Canes cuz.
Yeah, they don't say Canes cuz. They say Canes
cuz.
So it's kind of the whole
that's funny.
The whole scenario was just kind of abrupt. We were all excited to see this new turf get put down, and it all kind of backfired.
Who makes the decision to change the nickname? Is that just the whole school board and principal and booster said?
You know what? I'm not too sure with the whole, hierarchy or who makes the decision, but I know it does have to be approved by the school board. But from what I hear or from what I have heard, the athletic director didn't have a say so in it, and he's the athletic director.
Yeah.
So there certainly had to have been some type of behind the scenes kind of sneaking around, but
he didn't even know about it. He was just like, okay, we're just gonna get a new turf out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the actual blueprint said Hurricanes. It wasn't until the turf was actually being laid down that someone made a split decision to take the S out.
Right. It was a last second decision, pretty much. Wow. I just don't know why that would be so controversial though, because I mean it's the same name, it's just plural. I mean, you don't see Miami complaining about them being just the Hurricanes. You know what I mean? There's a lot of hurricanes out in the world, and hurricanes are not a good thing by any means. But I mean, it's not. You don't have the one hurricane that just comes over here to stay. You have many hurricanes. I mean, with many names, so it would make sense that it'd be hurricanes.
Yeah, and then if someone, if you run into someone and you say you're from Newcastle, they always say, "Oh, like you're a Red Hurricane." But then,
well, that makes sense in a way because that makes sense.
If the whole team is a Red Hurricane, and someone asks you, "Are you a Red Hurricane?"
Yeah.
Then technically, if you make up one hurricane,
you're Hurricanes.
You're not you yourself. You're not a hurricane. You're only a part of it.
Really?
So then, do you stop someone and say, "Oh no, I'm just a rain cloud," or I'm a raindrop. I only make up one little part of the hurricane. You say, "Yeah, I'm a red hurricane." So then, if I'm a red hurricane, and I have multiple teammates, that makes us red hurricanes. You know. So I think that's what the big argument is going on.
Yeah, I mean, if someone, say, like you were from a different school hanging out with a bunch of Red Hurricanes, they'd probably ask because they wouldn't be familiar with you. I mean, I could understand that, but I mean, if you are a player on the team or just a student hanging out with the players, then that'd just be a little odd right there because it's like, hey, I'm new.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a red. I mean, but that's simple one say like, hey, I'm a Red Hurricane because I'm part of the Hurricanes team. If they're just talking to you, you know what I mean? But yeah, I feel like I don't know. That's just I've never seen someone make controversy over nicknames because usually with controversy over nicknames you see now it's just all because of like Indian-based names. You know what I mean? Like Cleveland Indians, for example, they changed to the G word. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying the G word. I'll just say the G word because we don't allow that name on this podcast at all. That is one of them. I mostly make it like PG-13 on my podcast. That word right there will give me a rated R rating if I say the G word. So. No.
Yeah, I'm not a real big baseball guy, but growing up when I did play, elementary school, I was a Yankees fan, and then we went to a couple Indians games and went to went to a handful of Pirates games. We just always knew them as the Indians.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's just you just can't change the name like that. That's so iconic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So then that makes me think what's going to happen with some of these high school teams that are called like the Indians, like Girard, for example. You know what I mean? What's going to happen with them in the future when someone finds out? It's not common because they're not national known as like Cleveland is. You know what I mean? But say like they were, or say like something comes up with that, for a fact they're going to change. Or like Orange Jordan with the Raiders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Las Vegas Raiders. What's going to happen with their name in the future? Like
what about Spartans?
Yeah, Spartans, Warriors. Like you just don't know what's going to happen with some of these names. Next thing you know, Penguins is going to get changed because a penguin caused ruckus at the Pittsburgh Zoo or something like that.
Yeah, or maybe penguins are an endangered species.
Yeah, like exactly something like that, and or penguins or PETA's not a fan of penguins. You know what I mean? It could be whatever, but
I think I got something funny for you. So,
let's hear it.
What year did Robert Griffin III win the Heisman? Was it 2011?
Yeah, 2011.
So I was maybe what? So I would have been.
I was in 7th grade, so I was probably, let's see, you're 13 when you go to high school, right? I was probably like 11, 12.
So I think I was about 10. Yeah. And then when he got drafted, I loved RG3. So I got me RG3 fathead. I got the Redskins logo up. Then of course the Redskins name gets changed. Yeah. So now I still have the Redskins logo up in my room.
Yeah.
And they don't exist anymore.
I'm more of I like the football team name. I hate the Commanders name. I just think the football team was the greatest name ever.
Honestly, yeah, I kind of like the football team.
So you just got to keep the football team. That's so stupid they changed Commanders. Because Commanders, when you think about, you see, Dan Snyder is a somewhat owner. You know what I mean? He's been in the news lately for a lot of reasons that are not so good. And in my opinion, commanding is like you're taking control of something. Mm-hmm. Like you're controlling this whole operation, this whole team.
Yeah.
You're basically like, they're kind of like your guinea pigs in a way, just to put it in clean terms. And you're the owner of them. So you want to do, so you're saying, hey, I'm controlling you guys. I feel like that's what Commanders is because you're just commanding all of them. I feel like that's a little more offensive than the Redskins in a way. I feel like Redskins is kind of like a tribute to something at least.
Yeah, we might have to start calling it the C word.
The C word, yeah.
Yeah, another word banned from the OB Talkwire podcast.
From the OB Talkwire over here. And then, I mean, the media is all going to be hating me here as it is when we start making all those words I'm not supposed to say because they're the right words. If we say Redskins, they're going to get mad. So,
yeah.
Nah, I'm playing. But, so anyways, so we talked about a lot of that, about your career, the injury, and the comeback, of course. So, and what's it been like, though? Just because you're the linebacker coach a little bit, right? For the student coach, or do you have different linebackers? Okay. How's it been? Because I don't know if you played linebacker in high school at all.
So I played quarterback, and then I played a little bit of receiver, and then I played safety in high school too. Yeah.
So I didn't know how it is with like linebackers. If it's like different, if you learning some new things about like linebackers and what they do. Because your brother was a linebacker, right? Or,
yeah, he played both. He played safety
was,
and he played safety and linebacker. But yeah, so I never played linebacker prior to coming here and learning about the position. So that first whole the first really my first 2 years was really just all learning and soaking up as much information as I could, and coming in and sitting down with the linebackers coach, and after practice, after meetings, trying to learn more, and finally I feel like I'm comfortable enough now, and I have enough experience in the position that I'm able to coach and teach, and even the veteran guys on the team, I'm able to have some higher level conversations with them about X's and O's and stuff, and make sure I see what they're seeing when they're out on the field and stuff. And I feel like I can be more of an asset now, and really almost a coach rather than another, learning at the same pace as the players. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Because now you're just figuring it out, and you've probably watched film as much as the players do. I'd imagine just different NFL college players as well, and see how they do their X's and O's.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine compared to like safety, it's a little different because linebacker, you're either middle, left, or right, and you're around like just those areas where you're either backing up, you're not going as far as a safety would, right? In a way.
Yeah. So there's as a linebacker, there's I think it's a lot more complex than you would think.
Really.
There's a number of different techniques we play in pass coverage, a number of different ways we defend the run, and even though a couple of different plays might look similar when you're sitting and watching the game on Saturday, they could have been two completely different defensive schemes, and that linebacker who maybe his job looked a little similar, his eyes might have been somewhere completely different, and reading someone else on the offense, and he could have had a different job to do. So it's definitely interesting to I think for anyone to get to know a little bit about the X's and O's behind the scenes.
I'd imagine. So who's the best linebacker you've coached so far? Why is you? There's been some pretty good ones, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a brother. You can be a little biased if you want. I'm not taking that out of the picture. I know he's probably one of them.
Well, my brother played a lot more safety than he did linebacker.
Yeah,
so I think
when he was in linebacker,
I think he's exempt from the conversation.
Okay. We'll take. Sorry, Pat. We'll have to scratch you out.
Yeah, I think he's a DB at heart, but Grant Dixon, who came in,
he's actually with the Colts now, right? Signed with them or got invited to a minicamp.
He got invited to rookie minicamp, and he ended up not making the cut. But I'll tell you what, that guy, he can play some football, and he off the field, nicest guy you ever meet, and in the meeting room, just always positive, bringing other guys up, and he was always excited to learn, ready to work. He was just a pleasure to be around. My man Grant.
My man Grant.
Yep.
Do you think he's going to be signed to a USFL or XFL team here, or maybe get another shot at the NFL with the practice squad or something?
I think if he wanted to, he could. He has the body, and he understands football enough, and even that pales in comparison to his film and what he actually does, and with some pads on. But I think that's all up to him and what he decides to do, or if he's ready to kind of put his playing days behind him and start
coaching like your brother.
Yeah, maybe start coaching or pursuing another career. I think that's really up to him.
Who's because I know your brother's actually the coach at Westminster now.
Mm-hmm.
Has he been calling you up and be like, hey, so can you want to help me with some coaching stuff over here or something like that? Has he have you given him any advice? Has the younger brother give the older one any advice at all?
Not really much advice, but we've definitely had a couple handfuls of talks, bouncing ideas off each other, different ways to teach things, techniques, different ways to teach, eye discipline and things that all fit the scheme that he has to work in now. But yeah, it's definitely fun now that we're in different programs and now that we have a whole new coaching staff here at Youngstown State.
Yeah.
So I'm learning more football. He's learning more football at Westminster. So it's kind of coming together and like building our own kind of portfolios, what we like and don't like, so that maybe one day if we get to partner up again, we'll have our own little scheme built.
Two brothers, coaches, possibly here in the future on the same team once again. What's it been like though? Because coming in and working and having Coach Phillips as your coach, I mean, that's probably been pretty cool.
Definitely, yeah, and it was really cool. I think me and him, we kind of
Had a good vibe.
yeah, definitely, because he got his start just as how I did when he came out of high school. He joined the staff here under Tressel as a student assistant, as an intern. That's exactly what I'm doing. So, I'm extremely grateful for him to have given me the opportunity to join the staff. And yeah, man, and Coach Phillips, he takes care of his staff and he takes care of his players.
Or he's gonna walk in here for just a little cameo appearance.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah.
He just walks in, needs something.
Photo bombers.
Photo bomb us over here. Going to the background over here, just pretend it's like we're taking pictures. Do like a little photo bomb like that, a little peace sign.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm trying to get him on the show, so I mean, who knows? I mean, that'd be pretty cool. But even if he came in as this cameo right now, that'd be
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be pretty. I mean, you know how camp is, but hopefully you can catch him on an off day or something.
Oh, definitely. We could try maybe next year or something like that. If the show's still running by then, it probably will be. I mean, we're trying to get there. So I don't know if you actually noticed. There's a lot of because did you play baseball at all in high school?
I didn't.
You did. Okay, so I don't know if you know about the summer league baseball teams, so like Durr Edge and all those. Oh, really? So those are actually travel teams. There's a lot of Western PA kids that actually come from the Youngstown area that are like around there.
I got you. Yeah, I was never really a big baseball guy. I wanted to run track in high school, but then I had those couple injuries and I didn't get a chance to. But if I had the chance, I would have ran track instead of baseball.
Track's fun. I was never I did cross country when I was in grade school. Let me just say right now, I'm not a track person. I try to do a little cardio here and there, but I'm more of a lifter or something like that. Instead of like a runner. I'm never a runner.
Sprint. I like to.
You like to sprint?
Yeah, quick burst of energy, but distance running, that's not.
I did already enough of that when I played football. Trust me, as a kicker, they made you sprint still.
Mm-hmm.
The whole team had to sprint, then you had to sprint. That was a Larry Kemp coaching philosophy right there. And trust me, those sprints sucked.
Yeah, conditioning was never fun.
Real quick before we leave, I don't know if you're a big. I don't know if you're kind of like a gamer with like NCAA football or anything like that. I don't know if you play.
Oh,
what's that your favorite one? NCAA, what's your favorite one? NCAA 14?
Hands down. Oh, man. Was it?
There was 05 with Larry Fitzgerald. That was one of my first ones I ever played when I was a kid. That's still one of my favorites.
Was that 04? Because I think Reggie Bush was on the cover of 05.
Reggie Bush was 07.
He was?
Yeah, that was 07 with Reggie Bush.
That's it, yeah.
06 had Desmond Howard, actually.
Yep.
05 was Fitzgerald. And I think 04 was Carson Palmer.
That is right.
Yeah, 04 was Palmer.
That is right, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so that was pretty big, too. RG3 was on the cover of 30.
I think
12?
That was
12, I think.
Yeah, it might have been 12. The Heisman Trophy edition, where you could play as the old Heisman Trophy winners.
Oh, dude, that's mascot games.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? Dude, mascot games.
Yeah, mascot mode.
Mascot mode. Imagine, I mean, and then of course they had Team Builder, where you could have all the other FCS schools. You were allowed that on the PS2 versions of the game.
Yeah. So
you could put your season as Youngstown State, and there you go.
Mm-hmm. And even I think it might have been until 2010 when they had the FCS schools on the game.
Yeah, on the PS2, and then they switched to the Xbox. I don't know if they just didn't. They decided to focus on the bigger schools because they were just all focused on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's different now though, because with NIL deals coming through and all that, you could put all these real players in their real names if they want them. It depends how much they get paid.
Yeah. Yes, I think the I'm trying to think of the word. like
Name, image, likeness, or what?
that like the relatability of the game
Yeah.
will be that much more realistic now that
They're there.
you'll have the the names and
If they don't mess it up like Madden.
the faces of
Yeah.
of the players in the game rather than just generic people with
Generic name.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll put like Tim Riggins on one of my players right there. Saturday Night Lights. Hingle McCringleberry. Have you seen Keenan Peele?
Yeah.
So that was some of the players right there. But I would always like edit it and put like the real names.
I did that too.
You did that too?
Yep.
Because that's just made it more realistic, you know what I mean? But they, they're coming out with a new one. I just hope they don't make it like Madden is. Madden's one of the worst games now, after being one of the best back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really played too much video games recently, but nothing will top NCAA.
That's for sure. I don't know if you're gonna get the PS5 when it comes out on there.
I don't know. I mean, I hardly play games. My little brother, he's a gamer. He plays a little bit here and there, but he hasn't played like online or anything like that. So
I tried to get a PS5 and it wouldn't go through the Amazon thing when I tried to get it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, invite request only, dude. It kept on saying payment revision needed. After the sixth time, I just gave up. I'm just, I'll just wait for when all this stuff comes in through jobs and all that stuff, money wise, and I'll just get it after. But it's so hard. Like, we're 2 years in now. Just put the system in stores. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly. Yeah. Why make it so much of a hassle?
Yeah, because that's what they want. They say chip shortage, but in a way, I just think they want to do it because it's less stress, less money on there, and honestly, they want to be cheap about it.
Yep.
That's how it is.
It makes sense.
Oh, of course, it makes sense. You put the controller in, but then you just see that beautiful system right at Best Buy, just right there, but they don't have anything in stock with it. That's how I feel. But I'm like, y'all be teasing me out here for real. Like, just give me like a system over here. Why do I have to wait in like a, what's it called, a queen? What is it called when you have to wait like a QENE? What's the name they pronounce it?
I'm not sure.
A Quinn or something. I don't even know the right pronunciation for it, but no, that's pretty much what it is. I'm seeing. Hopefully, that game's just better than Madden. Right now. But
that'll be the benchmark.
That's how we're going to determine
everything. How we're going to rate it.
Put the FCS schools back in. Put YSU back in.
100%.
Because I mean, some of the players have, I imagine, some NIL deals and stuff like that. Maybe not big ones. A couple are Barstool athletes. I don't know if that means they met Portnoy and decided to become it, or who knows. But any final thoughts over here, Dan?
Man, all I gotta say is keep your eye out for the Penguins. That's it.
Big season coming. New teams in the conference coming up a bit too.
Yep. That'll definitely be exciting. So in future years, traveling to a new place, seeing what Murray State is like. But
open up against Duquesne, you know what I mean? That's going to be pretty big. And then the season starts from there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, taking it one game at a time and trying to watch those W's stack up.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for coming on, my man. Appreciate it for sure.
Yep,
and a little short notice, too, because you're like, hey, I could do it this week because camp's starting next week. So I'm like, let's get out of the way now. Why not?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, and we did it.
Yes,
we did it. But once again, thank you all so much for tuning in to episode 10, OB Talkwire podcast over here with Dan Minenok. A great story that he had. Great everything over here. One of the GOATs of YSU, that's for sure.
I don't know about that. I still got a way to go.
Still got a little way to go. He's still technically one of the GOATs. He knows all the boys over here. Once again, if you want to follow the YouTube page, it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts. You can find me out there. Maybe some different websites too. I don't know where Anchor gets all their podcasts, where they send it to, but probably a couple of them as well. But those are like the main four that you would see. But once again, Dan, thank you for coming on so much. Thank you all to the fans right there. Appreciate all the support. A lot of videos getting around 600 views, 300 views on shorts now. The one with Teeth Hunter, 250. Episode with Luke Papala just released actually 2 on the last one. This one will be recorded, probably released in a few days coming up because the editing and all that. But once again, I want to thank Coach Minenok for coming on, and I'll see you all, boys and girls, next time here on the OB Talkwire podcast. So once again, everyone, I hope you enjoyed that long interview right there with Daniel Minenok, that hour-long podcast that we had with him. We had some laughs and we had some serious talk, of course, about his future, of course. And once again, I want to give a shout out to the YSU Penguins starting their season up, camp starting up. In the future, I'm hoping to get Coach Phillips on. That would be an awesome thing if we got Coach Phillips. I mean, we've already had a bunch of guys over here that's really, really famous as well. People who are going to be rising up to fame here shortly. The next episode, however, is going to be back at my bro's place, hopefully. And Mike Breezy, aka Michael Brown, is going to be coming onto the podcast. Mike Brown right now currently works at the YMCA, but he also helps out a lot with basketball. Big basketball guy, is trying to get an AAU team together, trying to coach them up, and trying to make these college kids get some big scouts coming their way and head to the next level. So it's going to be really good to see Michael Brown once again and see him on the podcast, hear what he has to talk about with the AAU, talk a little NBA basketball, so he's a big NBA guy, and talk about just what's going on in the world. I know he's a big Dane guy too, so if you need advice, Mike Brown is the way to go, and I know he's going to be talking a little bit about that as well on the next episode. But once again, I want to thank Daniel Minenok for coming on to the episode, and I want to thank all the fans, the family, and the support, and everyone in Western PA that's going to be listening to this. Everyone in Western PA was super hyped for this episode, and I hope they all enjoyed this episode a lot. Once again, thank you to Daniel Minenok for coming on this episode. Thank you all to the fans who enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time on the OB Talk Wire.